had a gentleman ring in that his ship was sinking off the coast of Miami-Dade. We dispatched. They were on the GPS unit talking to us, and we're pinging their location. The last thing, he was like, we're going down, and you could hear them hit the water. And they found them 2 hours later, floating in the ocean. Both of them were saved. It was 2 men. And it was like in the news and everything. They gave me an adrenaline rush, but they were safe.
It's a lot of people that look to us and trust that we're going to be there in literally probably the most serious moments or situations they've ever been in.
The best part about working at Rapid is knowing that you're making a difference.
We save lives every day.
I saw their vision, their mission, and I said, I want to be a part of that.
We do something amazing for the public.
It makes me feel good.
So 92% of our leadership team started in an entry-level role.
We try and find individuals that can be the next leaders of our organization.
And that's what's really nice about this place, is how much we promote from within.
Every supervisor, every person in management was in the shoes that I'm in now.
It's very common that you'll see people celebrating their 5-year, 10-year, 15-year anniversary with the company.
There are a lot of different types of individuals that would be successful here and that are successful here.
With my military background, it was very attractive to come to a place like Rapid.
Rapid's very willing to work with you.
I came here looking for a job and I ended up with a career.
The opportunities are pretty abundant here.
And there's investments from big players in our industry, like Google and Amazon, that have been here 5 years. And in that 5 years, we've doubled the size of the company.
I think most operators, when we get to their first annual review, they're kind of shocked at how quickly it went, because there's really never a dull moment.
Well, you should be prepared to be busy.
It's very fast-paced, so the day goes by very quickly.
This company always focuses on the good, on the positive.
You walk out that door without a question that you made an impact, a positive impact in the world.
It's just a rewarding feeling to know that I was a part of that in some small way.
If my family members had alarm systems, I would want those alarm systems to be monitored by us.
Hey, job seekers, welcome to episode 14 of the JobsPlus JobsCast. The JobsCast is our virtual job fair where the premise is pretty simple. We check in with a local employer that has some immediate openings, and we kind of pull back the curtain and speak with an insider that gives us some perspective on culture, pay, hours, benefits, and more. If at any point you guys have a question, please feel free to drop it in the chat. We're going to do our best to answer it by the time we're done. I want you to meet Lauren, Director of Talent Acquisition, and Jonathan, Director of Operations right here in Syracuse from Rapid Response Monitoring. Lauren and Jonathan, tell us a little bit about Rapid Response Monitoring and what you guys love individually about working there.
Sure, absolutely. First, I want to say thank you very much for having us here today. I know Laura and I are pretty excited to talk about Rapid and all the different opportunities that we have. I've been with Rapid for 11 years, and the best way to describe Rapid Response Monitoring is we're a critical response center focused on protecting, saving lives, and also protecting homes and businesses at the same time. Whether it's a fire alarm, a burglary alarm, a medical alarm, our specialists are going to be specifically focused, trained, and in place to understand what's happening at the site or understand what's happening at the residence, and then be able to take that information and properly relay it to a local PSAP or a local 911 center so that they can respond with either an ambulance, maybe a fire truck, or the police department to whatever the emergency might be. I would say the best part of working here for me over the last several years is I've been in a few different positions, and no matter what role you're in or what department you're in, you go home at the end of your day, at the end of your shift, knowing that you were a part of something that makes a difference. You might not necessarily always be processing an alarm that has an emergency event, but you know that you're able to create that peace of mind in case a customer maybe does have an emergency. They know that they can rely on us to be there every day, every weekend, every holiday. It doesn't matter.
That's great. And I really get a sense of that, from your website of those really, really critical things that are important to people. And I know there's calls that kind of happen all over the place, but and we'll kind of get into that. But just to be able to get to the end of the day and know that you made a difference in someone's life, that's got to be great. How about you, Lauren?
Yeah, I would echo a lot of what Jonathan said. I think, having the opportunity to recruit people in. So I lead our talent acquisition team. I'm responsible for our hiring strategy across the organization, and being able to talk to candidates that are excited about their next opportunity, really looking for a place that's the right fit for them, where they can come and stay and learn and grow. It's really excited to be able to offer them an opportunity in a role that I know will be incredibly fulfilling and give them a lot of opportunity to feel at the end of the day, a lot of job satisfaction, a lot of feeling of knowing that they've made a difference in the life of, individuals across the country and in their own community. And I think it's a really exciting opportunity to be able to share that with folks as they consider their next career move.
That's great. That fit piece is such a huge job satisfaction piece on both ends, from the employer to the employee. So that's definitely something that resonates with me, and I think a lot of our job seekers too. But you guys have a number of roles kind of across the company that you're hiring for. So give us kind of an idea of what some of those roles are, and then kind of break down what day to day do those roles kind of look like.
Sure. So by far within our organization, the most important role we have in our company is our control center specialist. So that is the role listed on our website. It's listed as a customer service representative. And within our organization, it is a lot of customer service with an alarm monitoring purpose. So as Jonathan mentioned, we're responsible for receiving alarm signals, reaching out to customers who are having those alarms. So if you have an alarm system in your home or business, your system is armed, you leave, and someone were to walk in that front door, for example, that signal will actually roll to our office, to one of our control center specialists, for them to follow up and determine whether or not an emergency exists. And if so, then alert the proper authorities. So incredibly important position, really great opportunity. And to me, it's really it can be your first foray into an organization like Rapid that can then launch your career and your opportunity with us over the course of what we hope will be many years. In terms of that role, we hire people across all three shifts. So all times of day. These are individuals who start at $18 an hour as our current starting wage. We are also currently paying a $3,000 hiring incentive to full-time employees, as well as a $1,500 incentive for those individuals looking to work part-time. And that is a bonus that is additionally paid on top of your regular hourly compensation over the course of your first year of employment with us. So a nice sort of incentive for folks looking for a new opportunity now as well. And these are roles that are performed at a desk in our call center environment. So spending time on the computer and on the phone, talking to customers, but a lot of opportunity, again, to make that individual impact, make that personal connection, and talk to folks over the phone, providing, high level customer service.
That's great. And those roles, day to day, how does that get fulfilled? What does that look like, from the time you walk in the door to the time you're leaving for the day?
Sure. So those individuals are, they're performing work at a computer. So they do have a desk. Folks are able to stand or sit during the day. So a fair amount of, ability to just get comfortable. We also have a really beautiful office as well. So a lot of attention paid. We know how much time folks spend in the office away from home, and we really like an office environment that feels like a second home. So there's a lot of attention that's been paid to the investments in our physical space as well for employee comfort, even down to our ergonomic chairs with extra large wheels that make pushing your chair out from your desk just a little bit easier. But we spend time with a physical therapist on site who will instruct new employees on how to even adjust their chair to be comfortable during the day, to ensure that they're not sitting too high or too low or at an angle, making sure that they know where to position even their computer and their mouse. So a lot of attention paid, again, to employee comfort down to how they sit at their desk. But it is, work performed over the computer and over the phone with a headset, speaking to customers as calls come in, placing outbound calls, and reaching out to authorities as well.
That's great. I love that attention to detail, and I'm sure that's come from years of listening to your employees and really taking quite a bit of feedback to get to the point that you're at. So I'll tell you from afar, not even being in that environment, I can definitely appreciate where you guys have taken that level of being able to be productive and comfortable being productive. Tell me about, I've seen some of your marketing. It looks like if you're really good at playing Halo or Modern Warfare, this may be the job for you. But really, where do you guys get your? And maybe you are advertising through Microsoft Halo. Who knows? Tell me a little bit about where your candidates come from, maybe what they've been doing prior. Is it necessary to have call center experience kind of coming into this?
That's a good question. I think that some people might think that you need to have a call center or call taking experience, and it's not necessarily the case. I mean, as I mentioned before, being here for 10 years or so, I've worked with a lot of different people that have been successful here with many different types of backgrounds, whether it's military, maybe the food industry, retail. There's a lot of transferable skills that exist because at the end of the day, our main focus is providing a great customer service experience while handling actual emergencies and making sure we're delivering on those expectations. So the people that I've seen do well here are kind of what Lauren talked about, the individuals that understand or are looking for the opportunity to take a job and shift that to a career, because there is just so much to learn at Rapid. And that's one of the main reasons that attracted me to here. Before I started, I graduated from college, started first job out of college, and I was looking for a company that I could grow with, but also be able to learn. And that's a lot of what we focus on, is being able to educate throughout the course of someone's career, primarily because it's a fast-paced growing industry, and we're also a growing company as well. So there's really different nuances to even the department that are changing. I talked a little bit about how we support burglary alarms and fire alarms and panic alarms, but that's some of the basic offerings that we have. There's additional to things such as video alarms or audio-based alarms. And it's not something you're necessarily going to learn day 1, day 2, or day 3, but it's something that will be trained and taught over an extended period of time. So, there isn't necessarily any specific background or specific prior experience or education. It's really individuals that are excited to learn and have the potential to grow. And like I said, make that long-term commitment to go from a job into a career setting.
Yeah, and I would agree with that too. I think one of the things I also appreciate about that opportunity in terms of hiring people into our specialist role is it really is folks from a variety of backgrounds. There's no specific work experience that we're looking at as a recruiting team to try to recruit people in and make sure that they've done X, Y, or Z. We like to see people have experience working with customers, which frankly, in just about any industry, we all have, right? But I think additionally, what we really care about are more the characteristics. We want people who are ready to work hard, who want to help people and have that motivation. That's what ultimately will give them that satisfaction at the end of the day. So to me, again, it's nice because we're not looking for people who have experience on our industry or even providing service over the phone on a heavy basis, but really looking more for characteristics and qualities of individuals, of people who want to help and want to be there, want to be reliable, want to learn and grow, and less about sort of check the box type years of experience doing specific things.
That's great. In terms of that process of bringing somebody on, what does that look like from application all the way through onboarding? Where can they apply? What does it look like, as they go through that process? What tests or checks that are in place to make sure that you guys are getting the candidates you need?
Sure. Great question. So one, if you want to apply, our jobs are hard to miss in the marketplace. They're on a lot of job boards, but if people want to head directly to our career site, it's rrms.com/careers. There's a listing of just about everything you could want to know about working at Rapid, more information about our benefits, about our perks as well, and then a full listing of all of our open opportunities. So people can head right there and fill out an electronic application. Takes under a minute to complete. Nice and easy process. Submit your resume, fill out a short application. A recruiter will be in touch with you within one business day. proud of that timeline for us as well. But we really look to get to people quickly. We know that good talent is snapped up in the marketplace fast. So we're in touch with everyone within a day to set up about a 10-minute phone conversation. That conversation is really an overview of more of the role, making sure that people are comfortable with things like hours, taking note of whether they're looking for full-time or part-time, what shift. But it's a quick 10-minute call, learn a little bit about your work experience. From there, for the folks that we move forward, we'll move them forward to a first interview and assessments. Right now, we're still doing all of that remotely if possible. If folks don't have access to a computer, they can come on site and take our assessments as well. One of those assessments that we like to prepare people for is a typing assessment. We do look for individuals that can type at least 30 words per minute with a 90% accuracy. There's free tests online that people can take ahead of time just to make sure that they're confident. But really, if you've used a computer before and you're comfortable typing, most people can meet that 30 word a minute threshold. From there, we do a second interview to share a little bit more about policy. We really look at the first interview as an opportunity for us to get to know you, and the second interview to give you an opportunity to really evaluate if this is the right fit for you. So we talk about training structure. We talk about how we evaluate success in the role once you're in it. We talk about what to expect and really make sure that it's a place that you're excited to join as well. Then from there, we do all of our offers and paperwork online. Plan for a start date, pick a start time, things like that.
That's great. And in terms of education level, and perhaps you mentioned it and I may have missed it. I was thinking about that 30 words per minute. I actually did that prior because it sounded fast to me. So I was like, let me try this out. I'm not a fast typer, but I was able to do it. So I think if I can do it, anybody can either do it or get there, past, kind of pecking at the numbers and letters. But, what is the education level that typically you're looking for?
Sure. So in terms of minimum education, we do look for folks who have completed high school or at least have a GED. Along with that, ideally, if you only have a high school degree, we are looking for the fact that you have worked in the past. We do hire individuals as well, obviously, with degrees higher than that. But, for us, really, your ability to complete school, a little bit of work experience, so we know you've dealt with customers before and know sort of what to prepare for. But again, really, that's, the kind of experience you can find across any industry. So.
Great. And in terms of growth over there, I mean, you guys have both kind of talked a little bit about your journeys there, but what does that look like for your typical person coming through? Do you have either a path that is very clear, or are people able to kind of, make their own way around there?
Growth is plentiful would be the best way that I could describe it. There are a lot of opportunities at Rapid. And I think that the major reason for that is that we believe in internal advancement opportunities based on the amount of education and training we've already provided to every position, including the position that Lauren was kind of outlining there with the control center specialists. I kind of touched on it a little bit, but to give you an example, I can kind of speak from example. I started here, like I said, 11 years ago in the entry-level position as a control center specialist. And I've been fortunate enough and have had the opportunities to move my way up now into my existing role, which is the director of operations. And then if I take the rest of my team, I've got between our operations managers, our operations team leads, and our supervisors, which make just over 40 different positions. Every single one of them started at the entry-level role. Now, that is beneficial for so many different reasons. And we found that model works not only from an educational and training standpoint, but this job, you're going to be dealing with actual emergencies. You're going to be talking to customers that are dealing with a very difficult situation. And we want people that can all speak the same language. Even whether you're in the talent acquisition department like Lauren or in our data entry dealer support department, every single person goes through the entry-level training class. They sit out on the floor. They're going to be able to process alarms, take inbound phone calls, because it's a cultural thing. We all want to be able to speak the same language and understand the expectations of the position, because it all centers around being able to protect lives and property and understand really what that means. So it expands, further than the operations department too. I think in that video, it was actually Lauren that mentioned 92% at least of our either our middle level management, top tier management, or executive team all started at the entry level position. And you also asked earlier, why do we love, what do we love about working here? That's another answer I always like to talk about, that for me, in my role now, I have that opportunity to give people that are coming into the industry and our organization that same opportunity that I had, and I'm awarded that ability to do that. And that just feels good. That's exciting to do that. When we go through the application process, Lauren does the interview, I get to sit down with them as well, and I get excited talking to them because I know what their future holds if they're able to really see that path from job to career.
Incredible. We had a question come in. Should be a pretty easy one for you guys to answer. Just want to pop it up on the screen here from Gia, who asked, where are you guys located, and are there some buses around your area and your shifts?
Yeah, absolutely. So our office is located in Franklin Square, which is pretty close to Destiny. The beauty of being close to the mall is there's plenty of bus lines that come near our office as well.
Great. And actually one question that kind of came up, and you had spoken pretty briefly about some of the ergonomic pieces that you do to help people with their kind of everyday, but you are dealing with emergencies, right? You're dealing with life and death kind of things, people in scary situations. What is there for employees to kind of deal with that? Because I don't think you walk away from that unscathed as a person that's kind of, in that with somebody else, maybe in the moment. What does Rapid do in those situations?
Sure, that's a very, very important question. And I would say there's three sides to that. The first side is a little bit of what we touched on with the amount of training that we provide to our specialists in the control center specialist position. That can't be overlooked because there is a lot of time that we spend doing as much as we can from a simulation standpoint to prepare everyone as much as we can for the situation that they're going to deal with. That's not to say that we can prepare for every single possible circumstance or scenario they're going to run into, but we look at that as a short-term investment for a long-term gain, making time to make sure we're working with each individual from the day they walk through the door to not only understand policy and procedure, how to dispatch on these alarms, but also how to emotionally react to the situations that they're potentially going to be handling and how they are going to react, because that's the big part, is you don't always necessarily know what you are going to do to internalize it and then respond. So we like to give everybody as much practice and time as possible. I would say that's the first side. The second side is having as much support real time in the moment as possible. And what that means is that, we have a lot of specialists, like Lauren talked about. It's a 24/7 facility. We've got people on all shifts. We offer 48 different start times. So we have people coming and going every 30 minutes or so. But commensurate with that is a supervisory staff that has a similar setup to where we're always going to have supervisors available to answer any questions that someone might have. And what that means is if I'm processing an event or an alarm out on the operations floor and I have a question or I'm running into an emergency situation, I hit one button and it rings to all of our supervisors that are on staff, including myself and the manager, so that somebody can be there to answer that question. And sometimes it's not necessarily policy or procedure related. It's just how they can handle the situation that they're in, and they want that cosign to make sure that they're doing the right thing, they're sending the right help, and that somebody's there to support them in that decision. We have the technology that aids each of our specialists on what they're supposed to do, but sometimes it's just nice to have someone be like, yep, I agree with you. What can I do to help you? This is what I would say. This is how I would handle it. And that allows them to kind of feel as though they're doing and making the right decisions. The third side is kind of the totality of the environment or the culture that we have. Lauren talked about the workstations, the chairs, which we do spend a lot of time on making sure that they're set up appropriately because it is important. But also the break spaces, having different locations throughout the building to be able to take a break, a 10-minute break, have your lunch separate off the floor, whether it's, we have outside patio spaces, we have outside quiet areas where you can go and be secluded and kind of separate yourself a little bit. We also have multiple break locations. We have a lounge, we have a very large break room with a cafeteria setting. And then we also have private rooms as well where the specialist or any employee can go in, take their break and kind of disconnect a little bit and digest maybe any of the different things that have gone on during their shift. You're never going to be able to necessarily separate from it because you're going to come back and you're going to handle the next call of the alarm, but it allows you to be able to kind of digest it, work through it, knowing that you have the support from your supervisory staff there at a moment's notice.
Great. And I know, just from prior conversation with Lauren, you're not getting those calls on day one of life and death, right? You're going to get something where, some alarm tripped that isn't really emergency level, but needs to be looked into, right? These are things that you ease them into and train them into, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. That is the best way to describe it. Is we want to make sure that we're providing that support to ease into those scenarios and also offer as much stimulation as possible to prepare for those moments. But when we talk about the position and the job, there are a lot of emergency type events. But as I mentioned before, there's a lot of different types of areas within the department that we do monitoring for. It could be even some of our low priority events, which are maybe calling on a low battery or calling on an environmental alarm, such as a power loss, or maybe monitoring a video for a commercial site, or listening to audio for a school. There's a lot of different services that we offer, which also leads to as much training as we possibly can have. But yeah, there's a lot of different opportunities to be able to prepare yourself before you get into those moments. And it's not necessarily every single day where you're going to be having emergency alarm after emergency alarm, because the other side of the position is the customer service aspect, and make sure that our customers know that when they do have a false alarm, or they want to test their medical alarm system with their grandmother on a Saturday because they're there for the weekend, they know that we're there to be able to respond in an emergency type situation. So we see a lot of that as well, which actually helps prepare all of us for how we handle those moments, because you're almost practicing your call flow, your policy and procedure retake, and you're able to communicate with the customer in a non-emergency situation.
Great, that's great. We're gonna wrap it up now, but anything else that you guys wanted to cover, maybe you didn't get a chance to talk about, or that we kind of glossed over, that you wanted to add any more detail to?
I think that we covered the vast majority of it. I think that the most important things that I always like to point out whether it's I'm talking to a new candidate or I'm talking to my friends and family about Rapid, is the culture. I get that question a lot. I'm being here for 11 years. Why are you still there? What do you enjoy about that? And I think that there's a lot of my friends and family that talk about their companies, and talk about the team that I work on, the team that I'm in. This is my position. And we do have teams. We have a lot of teams. We're a large team, but it really truthfully does feel like a family environment, because we've all experienced the same thing. We've all been in very similar situations, and we're able to speak the same language. And that goes all the way, not only through our organization, but also our customers. Our customers thoroughly understand the industry. They understand the expectations that they have for burglary alarms and fire alarms. So it's a very inclusive when it comes to communication and understanding what the expectations are. So I always like to talk, or at least add a little bit about the culture, and the fact that it feels that way as soon as you get started, because you feel that level of investment. And then when you get out to your position and you're actually within the department, you're talking to people that have all been in a very, very similar situation. And for me, that was always very comforting.
Yeah, and I would add one of the things that caused me to really get excited about joining Rapid, and I've worked in recruiting for 10 years in multiple industries and large organizations and small. And one of the things that really stood out to me about Rapid in the beginning is we actually train all employees to be a specialist first. So similar to, even if you join a corporate role at a Starbucks, even the first thing you learn to do is be a barista. So everyone in our company understands the product. And that's, to me, what that training is really about. But the added layer on that is also the empathy that I think it builds across the organization, because that specialist role really is, the most important individual in our organization, and the role that they perform really is our core product. And every single person in every single department in this company has sat in that seat and knows what it feels like, knows what the day-to-day is like, knows what happens if you're on a technical team. They know what happens if that software goes down or has an issue. If you're in recruiting, you can speak, authentically about the position and the opportunities that it affords, and what the day-to-day feels like when I have a candidate ask me a question about that. Similarly, even our accounting team reaching out to our clients to understand ask about a billing question or something to that effect, they understand it as well. But just the level of empathy we have that everyone in this company understands the job that you perform if you're a specialist, I think really goes a long way. Our supervisors and our managers understand the job as well. So, I've heard so many potential candidates get excited when they hear that, because how many of us have worked for a boss at some point along the way that didn't really understand what that day-to-day felt like. But when things get busy, our supervisors jump in and handle calls, our managers do. I've seen John process. So everyone is there and helping out, everyone is a team. And to John's point, it really does feel like a family because everybody here really gets it. So, would welcome anyone who's listening to this who thinks that they may even be remotely interested to apply, have a conversation. Our recruiting team, I might be a little biased, but our recruiting team is great. And would love to have a conversation with anybody who just wants to learn a little bit more.
Great. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate you guys coming on and just kind of walking us through a day in the life at Rapid and giving us a peek behind the curtain over there at some of the goings on. So I'm going to move you off the screen, but feel free to hang out kind of in the green room while I finish up and we'll chat afterwards. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So if you're interested in employment opportunities available through Rapid Response Monitoring, what I want you to do is contact your job coach. Let them know you're interested in the roles that Lauren and Jonathan shared. And if for whatever reason your brain put up a roadblock that you just can't seem to get your mind around, I say this every week, but our coaches are barrier breakers. They are problem solvers. So if something is troubling you, you're not sure if this is the right role, or you're not sure if you can get some things in order to do the role, your coaches can help figure that out. Whether you're work limited, you have a legal issue, you're trying to figure out childcare, any of those things, they are going to work with you on a solution. If you don't know how to reach your coach, you can visit our job seeker page on our website, and that's jobsplus.org/jobseekers, and scroll all the way to the bottom where there's a form that you can leave them a message. They will be happy to help you out. And if you're watching, you're not a JobsPlus client, reach out to Rapid Response Monitoring with your employment questions. But before I let you go, I want to make a request. If you found any of this content helpful, I would encourage you to hit that subscribe button on the platform you're enjoying it on. If it's YouTube, also hit that bell. That way you'll be reminded when we have future live streams, when new content gets uploaded. And you can find all of our social media at the top and bottom of jobsplus.org. Please give us a like or a follow. One thing I do want to point out is our job seeker group on Facebook. There is a group exclusively for JobsPlus job seekers and alumni of our program. Join the group. There's a couple questions you need to answer, but once you're approved, you'll begin to see a steady stream of job opportunities of employers like Rapid that we're working with specifically to help you get through the application process. And beyond that, you can just ask questions, network within the group. It's a group you're not going to want to pass up. I'm dropping job leads in there every single day. We want to invite you to our next JobsCast that will be with Upstate Medical University's Materials Management Department. And we'll be talking to them live next Friday at 2 p.m. And we hope that you can join us. But for now, let's get to work.